This time on this video, I'm going to show you how we solve quadratic equation by completing the square. Okay, so solving quadratic equation by completing the square. Okay, so this is what we mean. Let's say that you have, so I'll say example. Okay, let's say that you have something like x squared plus 4x. Let's say that you have x squared is equal to, x squared plus 4x. And I really wanna have something like this. I really wanna have x plus something and then a square. Okay, I really want to go from here to here. Right. Okay, so the process of going from here to here is called completing the square. All right, so we're gonna say going from here to there is what we call completing the square. All right. Okay, so then let's see how we're gonna do this. Okay, the technique is this. So if you're gonna complete this square, what you have to do, for this, we're gonna do this. So we're gonna do x squared plus 4x, and then what we are going to do, we are going to divide this number by 2. Okay, so 4 divided by 2 is 2, and then we're gonna square it. Okay, so 4 divided by 2 is 2, and then 2 squared is equal to 4. All right, and then in here we have something that looks like this. Okay, so this now is equal to x plus 2x, no, x plus 2, x plus 2 square. All right, okay. Now, when you expand this, then obviously you're gonna have that. Okay, let's say that is true. Okay, so we're gonna say because x plus 2 square is equal to x square plus 2 times this by this, so is 4x, and then plus that one square. Okay, so I mean that it works. Okay, so example 1, example 2. All right, let's say that you have something like this. You have x squared minus 9x. Okay, so we got x squared minus 9x, and you really want to complete this square. Okay, so if you're going to complete the square, we're going to do what we did before. Okay, so we're going to use the same technique. So we're going to divide this by 2. Okay, so we're going to divide this by 2, which is negative 9 over 2, and then we're going to square that. All right, so if you square negative 9 over 2, then the answer is going to be plus 81 on 4. Okay, so you're going to have 81 over 4. Okay, and this now is a perfect square. Okay, so I mean that this is going to be equal to x and then minus 9 on 2 is square. Okay, and then you can easily verify that that is correct. Okay, so what it was missing at the very beginning was one term. So in here we have only two terms. So we got x squared plus 4x, and one term was missing from the trinomial. Okay, and the way that you're gonna find the missing term is by doing what we did. Okay, so let's check what we did in this case. So always you look at the x term, or the coefficient of x, and you divide that coefficient by 2. Okay, so 4 divided by 2 is 2, and then in your head you square that. Okay, so 4 divided by 2 is 2, and then 2 squared is 4. And this is a complete trinomial, and not only that, but it's a perfect square. Okay, so then you can go from here to here. Now, in here, this 2 is coming from dividing 4 divided by 2. Okay, 4 divided by 2, that is where the 2 is coming from. Okay, and then you say, well, that is true, because when I expand this, then the answer is equal to x squared plus 4x plus 4. Right. Okay, and then what we did this one. Okay, so we say x squared minus 9x. Again, there is the third term missing. Okay, so the third term of this trinomial is missing. How are we going to find that? By doing what we did before. So you divide this by 2. So you divide 9 divided by 2 is 9 over 2. And then you square that. Okay, when you square 9 over 2, then you're going to have 9 squared is 81. And then 2 squared is equal to 4. Okay, and then you say that is equal to x minus 9 over 2 in bracket square. Okay, so in here we found the missing term, and not only that, but we create a perfect square. Okay, so we call this a perfect square. Okay, let's do another one. All right, let's say that we have now, let's just make anything. So x squared plus 3x. All right. Okay, and again, this is not a perfect square, obviously. Okay, so I really want to go from here to have something like this. Okay, and to do that, we're going to do the same. Okay, so we're going to find the missing term, okay, the third term of this trinomial. And then we're going to express the answer as this. Okay, so let's find the other term. So we divide this by 2, so it's 3 over 2, and then a square. So 3 over 2 is square is 9 over 4. So we're going to put 9 over 4. Okay, so 3 over 2 is square is 9 over 4. Okay, and then that was the missing term. But even better, because this now is a perfect square, so we can go from here to something like this. Okay, and then you put x and then plus 3 over 2. 3 over 2 is square. Okay, so this is completing the square. But now we're gonna see how we're gonna use this to solve quadratic equation. Okay, so what is the relation between this thing that I've been talking about and solving quadratic equation? Okay, I'm gonna show you that in the next page. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so let's do this example. let's say that we have this equation, x squared minus 5x minus 9 equals 0. Okay, in this equation, we cannot find two numbers that when you times them together equal -9, and when you add them together equal -5. Okay, so that means that we cannot do factorization as we did on the other video. Okay, so what we are going to do is this. Okay, and also you can say, well, in here we already have 3 terms. Okay, but unfortunately, this term doesn't make this a perfect square. Okay, so we're gonna have to do this. So step number one, we are going to move this -9 to the other side. Okay, let's do that. So we do x squared minus 5x, and then I'm gonna move this -9 to the other side, which is now 9. Okay, and then we are going to complete the square for this. Okay, now we are going to complete the square for this by doing exactly the same as we did before. Okay, so we're gonna divide this by 2. So we're gonna divide this by 2 and then add the square of that. So when you divide this by 2, so it's gonna be 5 over 2, but 5 over 2 square is 25 over 4. Okay, so we're gonna be adding then. We're gonna be adding 25 over 4. All right. And let's see where this is coming from. So this is coming from dividing this by 2, which is 5 over 2, and square it. Okay, 5 over 2. And then square is going to be 25 over 4. Okay, and then equal 9. Now, because in here we add the 25 over 4 to the left of this, then we have to do the same on the other side. Okay, we have to do exactly the same just to keep the equality. Okay, so if you don't do that, then this is like a balance. It will be unbalanced. So that's why whatever you do on this side, you have to do it on the other side. All right, and then we know that this is a perfect square, so then we can do x minus 5 over 2, and then square. That is equal to, well, we do 9 plus 25 over 4, so that is equal to 61 over 4. So all this is equal to 61 over 4. Okay, and then we can square root both sides. So when you square root this side, then you're going to have only x minus 5 on 2. And then when you square root, then you have to do plus or minus, okay, because you got to remember that when you square a negative number is the same if you square a positive number. So that means that we have 2 solutions, okay? And then you square root this. Okay, what I was saying before is if you square -3, the answer is positive 9, and if you square positive 3, the answer is also positive 9. So that means that we have 2 possible solutions for positive 9. Okay, -3 square is 9, and 3 square is 9. That is where this plus or minus is coming from. Okay, so we got always 2 answers. Okay, and then we keep going down, and in here we're going to put plus or minus, and then here we're going to find the answer for this. So we cannot have the square root of 61 is not a perfect square, so I mean that we cannot simplify that, so we're just going to leave it like this. However, we know that we can find the square root of 4. Okay, so the square root of 4 is equal to just 2. Okay, and then we're gonna move this negative 5 on 2 over the other side, so we're gonna have 5 on 2 plus or minus a square root of 61 on 2. And the good thing about this is that we have the same denominator, so we can put this as one expression like this. Okay, and then in here we have two answers, so we can say, you can leave it like that, okay, or you can say it's going to be 5 plus a square root of 61 on 2, comma 5 minus a square root of 61 on 2. Okay, and then from here we have two options in the test. So if the test say express the answer in third form, then you stop in here. Okay, but if the question require to express the answer correct to, let's say, 1 decimal place, then you should do this, and you should do this and write the answer. Okay, so let's say that that is the case. Let's say that your teacher put in the test to express the answer correct to 1 decimal place. So we're gonna do 5 plus a square root of 61 equal, don't forget to press equal before you divide by 2. Okay, so one answer is 6.4 correct to 1 decimal place. And now we're going to do the other one. So we do 5, take away a square root of 61 equal, and then we divide by 2, so the answer is negative 1.4. All right. Okay, so this is how you do the completing square thing to solve quadratic equation. Okay, so we're gonna do a few more, and then yeah, and then you're gonna be okay with this. All right, let's do another one. Okay, and make sure that you revise this. Okay, because of this is telling you where all this is coming from, and it's coming from, you know, finding the missing term when you have a trinomial. So this is not a trinomial, okay, because something is missing, and then you need to find that. So then you can go from here to here. Okay, so keep this in mind. So you need to rewind the video and then watch it from the start. Okay, let's do a few more questions. Okay, let's say this question 2. All right, let's say that you have a square plus 6a plus 2 equal 0. Okay, again, we cannot do factorization because we cannot find two numbers that when you times them together equal 2 and when you plus them equal 6. All right, so for that reason we cannot do factorization for this. Okay, so we could, but the answer is not going to be whole numbers or fraction as we wish. Okay, so step number 1, I say we need to move these 2 over the other side. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of that 2 and clear the way for that one. So we're gonna put negative. Okay, and then we're gonna divide 6 by 2. Okay, so you always divide the coefficient of the middle term by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and then we're going to square. Okay, so 3 squared is equal to 9. Okay, so that is the number that we're going to be adding to your left and to your right. Okay, so let's say it again. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is equal to 9. Okay, so let's add 9. Okay, so we added 9 to both sides. Okay, and then we know that this is a perfect square. Okay, so we know because of that is what we explained it before. Okay, and this becomes now a plus 6 divided by 2, which is 3 square, and the other side is going to be just 7. Okay, and then we square root both sides, and you got to remember that you have to do the plus or minus business, and then we're going to have a is equal to -3 plus or minus a square root of 7. You can leave it like this if the question doesn't require any special format. Okay, or you can split it. Okay, and again, if the question doesn't require to express the answer in decimal form, then you stop in there. Okay, but if the teacher say, okay, I want the answer correct to 1 decimal place, then you put that in your calculator, and then you put that in your calculator to find the answer. All right, so that was a very easy question. Okay, and question 3. So we need to learn exactly what is going on. So let's say that you have x squared plus 3x minus 7 equal to 0. And again, it is impossible to find two numbers that when you times them together equal -7, and when you add them together equal 3. Okay, there's no way that you're going to find two whole numbers that will do that. Okay, so we're going to say for our solution, step number 1, we take this 7 over the other side, so then it's just 7. And then we need to find the missing term for this trinomial, and the missing term is 3 over 2. So remember, we need to divide 3 by 2, and you just leave it like that. So 3 on 2, and then a square. Okay, so 3 on 2 square is 9 over 4. So that is what we're going to be adding to both sides. 9 over 4 equals 7 plus 9 over 4. Okay, this now is a perfect square. Okay, and this becomes simply x plus 3 over 2 square, and then for the other side we're going to do 7 plus 9 over 4, so it's going to be 37 over 4. Okay, so this is 37 divided by 4. And then finally, well, almost, we're going to do x plus 3 on 2. Okay, so we're going to square root both sides, and on the other side we're going to have plus or minus a square root of 37 over 4. Okay, and then we're going to have x plus 3 on 2 is equal to plus or minus. Okay, if we can simplify, we do so. So we cannot simplify the square root of 37, so we're just gonna keep it like this, but we can simplify the square root of 4, which is 2. And then we're going to have x is equal to minus 3 over 2, and then plus or minus a square root of 37 on 2. Okay, and then we can put this together. -3 plus or minus a square root of 7 on 2. Okay, and then you can leave it like that, or you can separate them. Okay, and then, well, depending on whether you need the answer insert or decimal form, then you do so. Okay, so that is another equation by completing the square. Okay, so we're gonna do one more monic, and then we'll see how we do the non-monic. So now we have to question 4. Okay, question 4. In question 4 we have, let's say that you have x squared minus 9a equal to, let's say 8. Okay, let's say that we have that. All right, so in here, well, the constant is already on the other side, so we don't need to move anything from here to the other side. However, we need to divide 9 by 2, and then we need to square and add it to both sides. Okay, so we got x squared minus 9a, and then we're going to be adding or finding the other term. So this is going to be 9 over 2, and then when you square, so it's going to be 81 over 4. So plus 81 over 4, and in here we're going to have a plus 81 over 4. So you can see we add 81 over 4 to both sides. It's not a random number, it's the number that is coming from here. Okay, and then we know that this is again is a perfect square. So then we say x and then minus, so this is minus, and then 9 over 2. 9 over 2 is square equal. Okay, so that means that this now is equal to this. Okay, and then on the other side we're going to do very quickly 8 plus 81 over 4, and then that will give you 113 over 4. So 113 over 4. And then we square root both sides, so we're going to have x minus 9 over 2 is equal to plus or minus square root of 113 divided by 2. Okay, so we cannot do the square root of 113. Okay, and then we say that that is equal to, now we're going to be saving time, so you're going to put this as well, this is become positive, so it's going to be 9 plus or minus a square root of 113 on 2. Okay, so you can do that because they have the same denominator, so then yeah, you can go from here to here in one go. Right. Okay, so we have done with the non-monic, sorry, with the monic. Okay, and we have done the completing the square for monic, and on the next video we are going to do the non-monic. Okay, we're going to see how we solve quadratic equation using the completing the square when we have a non-monic equation. Okay, so that will be on the next video.